This is Spartan Plastics Case presented by Campbell Brown. My agenda today is to identify the problem that Spartan Plastics is facing, evaluate the given proposals brought by Elise Lovejoy, the new logistics coordinator, weigh the costs and benefits of these proposals, and then finally make a recommendation based on company values and what will best fit. To begin, I would like to highlight Spartan Plastics' mantra: high-quality components designed right, built right, sold at a fair price, and delivered on time to all customers. We know that Spartan Plastics' three critical customers are General Motors, Ford, and Chrysler, the big three. I will be using this mantra to be sure that the coming proposals still meet our critical customers' expectations. The problem that Spartan Plastics is facing is that traditionally shipping and logistics were not given enough attention, and now shipping costs are much too high. The current shipping situation is an LTL trucking system, meaning that it's a less than load trucking system. So, as you can see in this graphic, the blue boxes highlight pallets of our own products or Spartan's products that will be shipped. The gray area is either other products or empty space. Right now we are shipping in smaller loads and 100 weights, and that has an associated cost of 5 cents per 100 weight. Right now we're totaling at about $2 million in shipping costs, which is just far too high. To give you an idea of where this number comes from, I've included the calculations on the next slide. It is estimated that 10,000 pounds of components are shipped a day. With the limit of 100 pounds in the 100-pound load, we are estimating 100-pound weight loads per day, kind of a tongue twister. Next, we take the 5 cents per mile. The miles are added up from the DC in St. Louis and each of the locations, Lansing, Detroit, and Toledo, that the product will be shipped to. So that's about 1,500 miles, and then multiply it by that 100, we get around $7,700 per day. We then multiply that number by the 261 traditional business days. We know that in this business's case, and in most businesses, they're operating around 261 business days. So that's how we come to that $2 million. I will now dive into the cost analysis and qualitative factors of the other proposals to see how they measure against this current shipping system with a cost of $2 million per year. Option A, presented by Elise Lovejoy and Consolidated Shipping LLC, brings a consolidated shipping approach, which we know is bringing similar products into one truckload. In this case, it would be 30,000 pounds per truckload, and each stop will take a milk run effect and stop at each of our locations and unload the products until they finish. I've put together a shipping map to better indicate the costs associated with this shipping structure. We know our three customers are the big three. Our product will begin in the DC. In that 30,000 pound truckload, they'll head to Lansing, Michigan, Detroit, Michigan, and then Toledo. Each stop has a stoppage fee of $250, and then there's a fee per mile that I will explain on the next slide. Within each distance, the mile has a $6 per mile charge. So we add each distance between the stops to get a total of 640 miles, times that $6, around $3,800. We have three stops with a change fee of $250, so we have the $750 added to our $3,800 to get around $4,500. We multiply that by the traditional 261 business days to get a yearly cost of about $1.2 million. With this proposal, we're seeing about $800,000 in savings in 1 year, which for a company the size of Spartan, almost 1,000 employees, and this type of saving, it can be really beneficial in the long run just in 1 year. So it's important to look at the qualitative factors that come with this proposal. So one of the pros would be that trucks are scheduled easier. They get on one truck and they hit each location, and there's not much need to coordinate to make sure that products are getting on different trucks at different times. It's just one shot. But that being said, because of this, that could mean that there's a longer lead time for customers, and we know that that's an important part of our mantra, so this may be kind of a heavier weight con. Fixed costs are spread across the entire truckload, whereas before in our current shipping, there are smaller loads, so these fixed costs kind of add up. So it kind of creates that economy of scale. And another con that is important to look at is that there are potential costs incurred from storing. We're shipping a large amount, and we're not sure the capabilities of other plants and if they're going to be able to store. So this is kind of something to consider because these costs can really add up. With these quantitative and qualitative factors, now I'd like to look at option B and weigh those. Option B is presented by Amalgamated Integrated Services, and this is a cross-docking shipping technique, meaning that there would be one shipping terminal that would have unloading and reloading to get to the next location. So this is a $6 per mile cross-docking mileage fee, and then there's a $500 flat rate fee for those goods to continue on to each of the locations. In this approach, the product would be brought to a cross-docking terminal in Ypsilanti. So they'd be transported from St. Louis to Ypsilanti, and then they would be offloaded and sorted in a quick amount of time and on their way to the final destination. This diagram does a good job showing the efficiency and the ease of a cross-docking terminal. You can see that the arrows are sorted and they end up at their final destination rather than hitting all of the single destinations themselves. Here's a shipping map I created for the AIS proposal. So you see it would end up in St. Louis. It would be consolidated there, brought to the cross-docking in Ypsilanti, and then there would be a $500 fee per delivery to Lansing, Detroit, or Toledo. But I'll go over the costs in the coming slides. Here are the calculations for this proposal. There are 521 miles that will go into the $6 mileage charge from St. Louis to Ypsilanti. That comes out to about $3,100. There are 3 deliveries, so that's the flat rate of $500 from the cross-docking that will be charged. Add those together and get around $4,600, and our yearly cost is about $1.2 million. So this is a bit higher than our other proposal. However, it's important to look at the qualitative factors as well to see where these line up with our mantra and our mission. The pros of this proposal include eliminating the need for storage. Because there's such a quick turnaround at that terminal, this is a really great way to cut costs out of storage for both the customers and Spartan themselves. Also, the cross-docking approach makes the whole process smoother, a lot smoother. As you saw in the previous graphic, those arrows indicated the smooth transition that trucks will bring each of the products to their final destination. There are cons. Unlike the other proposal, their scheduling is less flexible and we have to have more of a concrete plan. However, if executed appropriately, it's still an efficient way of shipping. There are more room for errors with the more people that are handling the goods, unloading, reloading, sorting. They could get lost or damaged, but assuming that there's an appropriate staff, this is their job at cross-docking terminals, I think that it would be a really efficient way and a smooth process. As for a real-life example, it's funny, my dad actually owns a plastics company, so I grew up in that industry and learning about shipping, etc. I was speaking to him about this case study, and he actually uses cross-docking for some of his larger customers. For example, he has Home Depot and other stadium seat color concentrators, and they like to have their goods at a cross-docking terminal because they can kind of take the goods and run with it wherever they need to, because some of these bigger businesses have multiple production plants and assembly plants. So this is a really good way for them to have that agency and flexibility. Again, such big vendors are using it, so it's obviously efficient, and it is a good way for the customers to have agency over their goods because they will be getting them quickly. There has been a good amount of research presented and evaluated. However, there are missing pieces. Now that we have larger goods coming in, there is the idea of maybe having larger shipments less frequently if that were a possibility. It is important to kind of consult with customers. We have these 3 critical customers, and before making a final decision, it would be helpful to kind of get these questions answered and fill in any missing pieces. After evaluating both the quantitative and qualitative factors, we would like to recommend amalgamated integrated services for their cross-docking technique to go forward with. The reason being is this proposal will save money and time. With a consolidated shipping approach as well as the cross-docking, it's more efficient and will get to the customers faster when applied correctly. Also, there's more control for the customer, as we learned through the real-world example. It'll eliminate storage costs, and although the savings don't look as big as Consolidated's proposal, in the long run, the eliminated storage costs will outweigh Consolidated's in the current moment. That being said, this proposal best aligns with the company's mantra stated at the beginning of the presentation. The high-quality components will still be designed right and built right, but we'll have more savings on our hands. We'll continue that fair price and on-time delivery for our customers. I know that this is online, but if you have any questions, please email me, and attached is my works cited. Thank you.